Should have some background music playing. Okay, we're just going to wait for a few people to join in the meeting, and then we'll get started. People are starting to come in now. Good morning, everyone who's joining the webcast. We're just waiting for a few more people to sign in. See a couple of people in the lobby, so we'll get started in a minute or so. Great. Okay. There's one or two people straggling. Hopefully everyone's okay and can hear me fine. If you've got any problems or comments, I've got Mike and Tracy also on the meeting, so feel free to put any comments into the chat as we go along. And we'll answer those questions towards the end of the webcast. We've also got an offer at the end as well, which we'll be pushing out as well. So stay tuned, and then we'll go through that. So I can see we've got we've got most people on the call now. One or two people joining. So yeah, we'll make a start. And thank you very much for your time this morning. And hopefully you'll find this insightful and pick up a few things along the way. Hopefully you can see my screen and hear me okay, as I say. We'll make a start. Okay, so good morning, and today we're going to be looking at how we can improve efficiency and reduce costs through technology. My name's Adrian Williams, for those who haven't met me. I'm a director of Tech Wales and Tech West with my co-director Mike Price. And Tech Wales was founded in 2012. We're a Microsoft partner, and we have been since we started. And we provide remote and on-site IT support services. We provide a full range of business telecom systems and mobile contracts. Now we've just signed a deal with O2 and Vodafone, as well as Three, so we can offer a full range of contracts. And we also help businesses make the most of their 365 with the addition of business applications and improving your efficiency, which is what we're talking about today. For those who don't know, we also opened Tech West in near Bristol in 2024 this year, and we're now looking to expand our reach across the bridge into the west of England as well, and beyond. So we work with a wide range of customers. Some of you will recognize your name on there. The customers that we work with, those are their words, not ours. I think that we've always put customer service as the forefront of our business. Anyway, that's the sales pitch over. Let's get on with the presentation today. So we're going to look at how we can use technology to improve our efficiency and reduce our costs. And how do we do that? Well, we want to, first of all, most businesses want to increase their profit. So there's a couple of ways that we can do that. Obviously, first is understanding the financial fundamentals. Then through either investing in IT infrastructure, reducing our costs, and implementing efficient processes. We can listen to our customers' feedback and their needs, but also a constant process of reviewing and optimizing your business. So how do we go about that? Well, first of all, pretty straightforward. Financial fundamentals. The profit that we make is the turnover that we take in minus our costs. So anything we can do to reduce the costs of operating our business have got to be a good thing, right? So what are the costs that a business typically face? Well, obviously there's the standard costs like your office space, renting and purchasing a property, having somewhere to work from, the equipment that you need in order to do or create the product that you're selling. We need to let people know about us and what we do. We've got our raw materials, our energy, but one of the biggest expenses to a business is the staff and their employees. So we're going to focus today on how we can make those staff, those salaries and employees more profitable to us. So first of all, how can we reduce the staff costs? Well, obviously we can optimize our recruitment process, reduce the amount of cost that we're spending on advertising or agency fees. We can reduce the staff turnover by investing in employee satisfaction and engagement, because the longer we can keep the staff in our business, the better. We can use strategic staffing, which is about planning work schedules in such a way that we minimize overtime. We use part-time or contract workers during peak periods instead of relying on existing staff working extra hours. We can also upskill our existing employees by providing training and allowing them to be able to do multiple roles or giving them the tools to be able to do those multiple roles. And then finally, guess what? Implement technology. So use technology to automate tasks, increase efficiency, which reduces the need for overtime and additional staffing. So let's just look at that in a bit more detail. First of all, we need to have an IT infrastructure in place that will allow us to create these automated processes. And that starts with your client devices. It might be really tempting to try and cut corners here. But typically, if you buy cheap client devices, you're just going to end up frustrating your staff. you're going to end up with time delays while you're waiting for your computer to do things. So typically we say if you can spend around £800 to £1,000 minimum on a laptop, desktop, tablet or mobile device, then that will last you a good length of time, and it will give you the necessary tools and the latest software to be able to run your business more efficiently. But as well as having a good client device, then you need to have the infrastructure behind it that it connects to. And these days, that means a cloud service such as Office 365. A lot of you on the call, I know, so I know a lot of you have already got 365. And most people think of 365 as just being that core Word, Excel, PowerPoint, having services for file and email, and that online collaboration through Teams that we're using today. But there's so much more to Office 365 that you can use to help your business be more efficient, including process automation, integration with third-party applications that may be set outside the 365 ecosystem, and also business and artificial intelligence, which allows you to analyze your business and then go through that process of continual optimization. So let's just drill into what 365 is. Obviously, as I said, most people think of Office 365 as just being those core Microsoft client applications, Outlook, Word, Excel, PowerPoint, and so on. But there's so many more additional services that make up the Office 365 offering. If you go into your Office 365 portal, portal.office365.com, there's a little app launcher in the top right-hand corner, and you'll see that there are apps being added to the 365 solution all the time. These allow you to do things. So bookings, for example, allows you to provide a link, a website link, where people can go and book their own events in your diary directly. So customers or people that you want to communicate with can go in. They can't see the details, but they can book an event, and it can ask them to supply certain details. Forms allowed you to create a form and then publish it online. Kazala is Microsoft's equivalent of WhatsApp, but it allows you to keep that data within your Office 365 environment rather than going out to WhatsApp, where it's an uncontrolled environment. If someone leaves, they take all that data with them. Within Kazala, you can keep all that information within your 365 environment, within your business, and you can control it. Loop is a new way for teams to work together and collaborate. If you haven't had a chance to try Loop, go in and have a look. It's a great way of organizing a team and getting new ideas from the people that are working on that project. As well as things like Planner and Project. Planner, great way to get rid of all those whiteboards with jobs on that need completing. It works well with Microsoft To Do, which is a task list. But also, if you need more formal project management, you can add good old Microsoft Project in, and that allows you to do more of that kind of project management and task scheduling. Stream, video service to use internally. So if you want to publish training videos, you can put them up on Stream. You can share them out internally. You can place them in SharePoint sites within Teams meetings. A great way to get people on board, upskill your existing workforce, as well as disseminate knowledge out across your organization. So, and as I say, these are being added to all the time. But as well as these core applications, there are additional applications which can support your business. And these are known as the Power Platform. And the main apps that make up that are Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Pages, and Power BI. So what is the Power Platform? So Power, it's a group of technologies that work together to enable your business to be able to work more efficiently, get your data organized in one place, but also use automation to improve how you work. Power Apps allows you to create business applications, whether that's applications that you use on your PC or mobile apps, that allow users to interact with data in a way that they don't currently have, especially if you're using things like Excel to manage a business. Power Apps also allows you to customize SharePoint as well. And if you've worked with lists within SharePoint before, they can be quite clunky or not able to do some of the custom workloads that you need. But by using Power Apps and SharePoint, then you can change the way that people enter data. You can add business rules into those data entry screens. So that Power Apps allows you to create internal facing apps that users within the business will use, which is great. But we all work with external companies, whether that's our customers, suppliers, partners. And this is where Power Pages comes in, which allows you to build data-driven websites, which will interact with the data that's within the Power Platform. Power Automate is Microsoft's workflow engine, allows you to automate business process. You can automate data entry and retrieval, and we'll talk about that in a bit more detail as we go through. And then Power BI, which is all well and good putting all this data into your into one place, but if you're not able to analyze that data, then you know it's almost meaningless. So Power BI allows you to create interactive dashboards that you can share both internally and externally. You can have automated reporting, so reports are delivered to you every morning or as often as you need. But you can also use Power BI to trigger those Power Automate processes. So when a certain metric hits a minimum level, that can trigger an automated process then to either interact with an external or internal system, or it can allow you to make the necessary changes to resolve that issue. So as well as these four applications, they're all supported by what's called Dataverse. And Dataverse is Microsoft's cloud database system. It sits within part of your Office 365 environment, and so it provides all the same security controls that you have within 365, as well as a whole raft of additional functionalities such as auditing and customization. And we'll drill into that in more detail. And of course, it would be remiss of me to mention AI. Microsoft Copilot integrates across the whole of the Office 365 stack, including the Power Platform. And Copilot really allows you to start interacting with your data in a whole new way. And again, I'll talk about that in more detail as we go through. So let's start at the bottom and what is Dataverse? So Dataverse is Microsoft's centralized database. So as I say, many businesses and have a lot of data in and around in and around the company. A lot of it can be stored in Excel documents, depending on the size of the business. So you may have customers, orders, tasks, useful numbers. John's master spreadsheet, who no one really knows how it works, but it's core to the business. These spreadsheets build up over time and they form little islands of information around your business. Excel's a great tool. It's really useful for doing reporting and analysis, but it's not really the best place to store that structured information, especially where there's relationships between. So, for example, a customer may have multiple orders. So you have that problem then where you've got the same customer listed on an Excel spreadsheet multiple times, and that can cause problems as well. So as well as these Excel spreadsheets, you've also got information within your 365 environment. So your emails, your Teams chats, files and appointments, as well as information that are stored in systems outside of 365, whether that's your finance, your HR system, maybe your phone system, maybe another cloud-hosted service. So we've got all these little bits of data that are stored all around the place. And what would be so much better is if we can bring all those islands of data together into one central company database and keep it all in one place with a standard set of security, with full auditing, as I mentioned, and the ability to start automating when things get added to records or when records get changed. Obviously, we still have information that's stored in our Office 365 system. We'll probably still have John's master spreadsheet, who no one knows what it does, but it's key to the business. And you'll have information stored in external systems as well. And surprise, surprise, that centralized company database is what we mean by Dataverse. So Dataverse is this cloud-hosted repository. You can access it from Excel. You can access it from the whole range of 365's packages, including the Power Platform. But also you can use it to access those third-party systems that are external. And the way that it does that is by using connectors. So currently there's about 600 plus connectors for Dataverse, which allow you to interact with data from external systems, whether that data is stored in a SQL Server or Oracle or another database. We can get access at the database level to that information, or if it's stored in applications such as DocuSign, Facebook even, Gmail, Twitter, or X as it's known now. There are a whole plethora of external connectors that are developed by companies to allow their software to integrate with the Power Platform. Each connector allows you to do certain things. So whether it's pull data, trigger an action, such as if it was Gmail, send an email, or trigger an automation when an email arrives. These are the types of things that you can do with the external data connectors. Plus, if there isn't a data connector published by the software provider, there are ways that you can build your own connector, easier if the application has its own API, because you can use that API to build your connector directly. Also, there are other methods through what we call robotic process automation, which allow you to interact with data as well, which I'll come on to later. So now we've got a central place to store all our data and store all our data and interact with third-party systems. How do we actually get the users to talk to that data? or use it. And that is where Power Apps come in. Power Apps is this solution which allows you to build those business applications that you need in order to run your business. Now, traditionally, you would have kind of before the Power Platform, you would have these business applications sitting outside somewhere on the cloud that you'd access. So you may have your marketing system in Constant Contact or MailChimp. You may have your CRM system, Zoho, HubSpot, something like that. And you may have your fulfillment or your account system stored somewhere else like Xero or something else outside. And the problem with having this is that each one of these systems, again, creates one of these data islands. So in your marketing system, you'll have a list of contacts and the campaigns that you're going to fire into those contacts. In your CRM system, you'll have your companies, your contacts, and the emails that you've been sending back and forth and interacting with the customers. And in your fulfillment system, you'll have again your accounts and contacts, but this time with their orders. And the problem that we've got is we need to synchronize those. So when a new company interacts with us in our marketing system, we need to then transfer that over to the CRM system at the point they become a lead. And then when they place an order, we then need to send all that contact information over to our fulfillment system. So Power Platform gives us a much better way of working in this type of environment by hosting that marketing system, your CRM system, your fulfillment system, all in one place. But by using Dataverse, it just means that there's one copy of those data files. And each system will then in turn speak to the different speak to the same data table. So when you create, when a user signs up for your marketing, that contact instantly becomes available in your CRM system. So if you're tracking leads or you have a sales process that then follows on from a marketing campaign, then that can be driven through your CRM system using the same data. Your fulfillment system, again, when they place an order, then it can use the same data, the same accounts, the same contacts. And this opens up new avenues in way that we can start working with this data. So for instance, your marketing system can now all of a sudden access orders that have been placed in the fulfillment system. So you can then use your marketing system to send out campaigns to users that are interested or have previously purchased a specific product without having to create some sort of workflow where that data is synchronized across all those applications. So the Power Apps, what do they look like? Well, there's two flavors of Power App, and the first one is what we call a model-driven app. Now, these can either be built from the ground up within the Power Platform environment, or you can purchase pre-built applications. And there's a whole range of companies now that are building applications on the Power Platform that you purchase through a subscription, very similar to every other cloud app, but they use this centralized database within. So here we've got a CRM system that we currently reselling called Imperium Dynamics. It's a cut down version of Dynamic CRM, very quick to implement. We can turn it around in a couple of days to get it installed within your 365 environment. And then this is the base. It gives you that step up, which means that you don't have to build all the screens for managing leads, opportunities, product lists, customer cases, and so on. And as I say, it gives you a step up so you can then take their base solution and customize it for your needs. So if you need to capture a specific piece of information when you're in the lead process, you can add that field into Dataverse and then expose it within your model-driven app, so that your users within your business can then interact with it. These model-driven apps come with again a whole host of features out of the box. So they integrate with Outlook. So as emails come into your inbox, you can assign those to leads, opportunities, contacts. And once they're tracked, they'll remain tracked, and any future conversations in that thread back and forth automatically get saved within the CRM system, within the Power Platform. It comes with this process bar that you can see across the top, which allows you to define your business process and the information that you need to capture at each stage of that business process. Also useful for reporting purposes, because you can see how long a record has been at a particular stage, which helps identifying those constant changes, improvements in efficiency. And also you can assign those records out to individual users or a team of people to interact with. And because it's Microsoft, it comes with all those security controls that you would expect. So you can lock it down so people can only see the records that they're assigned to. Team members can see records that are within their team. Or if you have a big organization with multiple branches, then you can similarly lock it down at organization level as well. Full auditing across all the records, so you can see who's changed what, when, and integration with 365. So if you upload documents into Power Apps, they're stored within a SharePoint site. So you can interact with them as you would any other document that's stored in a SharePoint site directly through those client apps. But it means that when you go in and look at that record through your Power App, you're able to see all of the information, not just the stuff that's stored in Dataverse. It could be a OneNote document that can be integrated with it as well. Really powerful stuff. As I say, that's just one application, the Imperium Dynamics solution. Another that we use is Touchdown, which is a great replacement for MailChimp, Lead Pages, and Eventbrite. So if you're using those three systems, this brings them into one solution. And as I say, because it's based on the Power Platform and uses Dataverse, then it allows, it means that it's sharing the same data. So in here, you can create customer journeys. So whether that's people that you're marketing out to, or whether it's existing customers as they go through your sales or order process, then you can use Touchdown to trigger automated events again, communicate with the customer, capture information in the form of landing pages, and as I say, that all those other benefits that you get from the Power Platform. We've got our own solution that we've built as well, which is for managing courses. So if you're a training provider that has to manage students, we've got an application, again, based on the Power Platform that allows you to manage those students all the way from enrollment through to qualification. You can set up course units and record progress through those course units as they're going through as well. But as I say, the beauty of this is that all these applications use the same data. So here we've got Touchdown showing our account details. and we've got all the touchdown applications. But when I go into my customer service application, you can see I've got exactly the same details. And while there might be a few extra fields that we don't have on that one application might use and another might not, the fact that all the data is stored in one place means that these applications can then start integrating and using marketing data in your CRM system or in your order system and further on. So that's one type of Power App that you can have. They're quite structured. You can customize the screen, but as you can see, they've all got a very similar layout with a menu system down the left and then this tab and Outlook. This grid format that they use. But sometimes you need to create simpler applications for people that are out on the road that will need to still need to interact with that data. And this is where the Power Apps Canvas apps come in. These allow you to build tablet, PC or mobile based applications that can integrate, talk directly with data in Dataverse or through those connectors, integrate out to third-party applications. They're great. They come with a whole range of controls out of the box that, as you can see, you can create really good colorful applications that really suit the purpose of a user that's out and about but needs to be able to interact with your business data. And we've just got a couple of examples here of the types of applications, whether it's booking time slots or viewing customer information. These internal applications, so these aren't designed to be used by people outside the business, but it's to allow your employees, maybe your partners, your suppliers, to interact with that data. And again, the Imperium product comes with a pre-built application which allows people that are out on the road to interact with that CRM data in a much simpler way. If you can imagine trying to interact with that model-driven application, if you just had a mobile phone, would be very cumbersome. But by simplifying the user interface and using a Canvas app, then it allows you to expose that data to people when they're out and about. So Power Apps allows you to create desktop, tablet, or mobile applications. It uses this, what Microsoft called low or no code options. So it's very much a drag and drop environment. And if you're used to building formulas with Excel, then have a look at Power Apps because they're very similar and they're designed to be that way. For those power users of Excel, Microsoft wants you to be able to use the Power Apps platform. You can, as I say, purchase pre-built applications, and we've got 3 examples already. There are many more applications coming online all the time, whether it's HR, project management. There are a whole range of Power Apps based applications, and over time, this is Microsoft, that's only going to grow. They integrate with your core 365 apps. And as I say, there's no data synchronization required. They're working with the same data tables. There are lots of controls in those Canvas apps out of the box and the model-driven apps, but it is possible for people to create their own third-party controls, and there is a whole ecosystem of people developing apps that allow you to do all sorts of things that you can add into your Power App solution. Even some of the standard controls are really useful, such as there's a barcode scanner that uses the camera on your phone. So as products come in, you could just scan them with a mobile phone or scan the barcode on them, and then that can pass that information into your Dataverse, starting an automated process maybe. As I said, security being the primary concern and auditability of who's changed what when is standard, as you would expect. And one license in the Power Platform allows you to create as many applications as you require. It is a user-based license, which is why it's focused for internal users within your organization. But there are various options and ways that you can add that in, and also ways that you can reduce that cost of the license, especially the more applications that you use Power Platform for, then that license cost gets, 2 applications halved, 3 applications it's third, and so on and so forth. So the more that you use this, the lower the cost of ownership on it. So this is great for our internal users, but what about people that are outside the organization? Well, this is where Power Portals come in, and this allows you to create pixel perfect, external facing, data-driven websites using the same type of style of designer that you use to create Power Apps. You can publish websites really quickly. And those websites can interact with the data in Dataverse and also start those business processes. It comes fully responsive, so whether you're viewing it on a tablet, a laptop, or a mobile phone, then the screens will automatically change so that they fit the device that you're using it for. And some of the use cases that you may want to use these for, obviously, if you're an external facing body, citizen services, customer self-service, frequently asked questions, partner management, getting people to fill in application forms, or maybe even data reporting. So if you've got a supplier, if you're a larger organization, but you want to expose details on stock levels or what orders need to be placed this week, you can integrate Power BI with your Power Portal and allow users to work within a constrained environment with the data that you expose. As I say, use a designer that's very similar to the one that you use in Power Apps. So it's drag and drop. All of your data fields that are in your Dataverse environment can be exposed, or the ones that you choose can be exposed maybe. So it's really quick to build these forms, whereas previously the only way to achieve this was using a developer. These are, again, low code or no code solutions. So you can very quickly display a list of orders, a list of stock levels, and allow users to drill into that, maybe just view the information or be able to edit it as well. Really good way of keeping that connection with your customers or your suppliers. So Power Portals allows you to create these pixel perfect data-driven websites. They're responsive. You can build them really quickly. You can change them. That's one of the key parts of the Power Platform, is that your business is dynamic and things change. And with all of these things that I've talked about up to now, it's the ability for you to be able to go in and change those, whether it's a screen design, capture an extra bit of information, without having to go through that whole development process in order to do it. As I say, you can add the ability for users to log in, so you can provide a personalized experience, and you can publish those Power BI dashboards out through Power Portals as well. Now, so we've got our data, and we've got a way for our internal users and our external users to interact with that data. So now we need to start looking at how we can improve the efficiency, and that's where Power Automate and process automation comes in. Power Automate, as I said, is Microsoft's workflow engine, and it works on a simple principle that you have a trigger which starts a process and gives a result at the end. So by trigger, I mean these could be a whole plethora of things. It can be stuff that happens within 365, such as saving a Word document, an email arriving in your Outlook with a particular uh, subject or content within, or even now a sentiment that if an email had an angry sentiment, then you may choose to trigger a flow. Someone may have completed an inquiry form on a website. That website doesn't have to be Power Portals. Obviously, that's an option. Or it might be someone's filled in a Microsoft Forms, or it may be that they've filled in a WordPress form template. That can trigger then your automated process. It could be something that happens in Dataverse, such as an order being placed, but they can also be run on a schedule, such as every other weekday, or when an engineer completes a visit, they're on their Canvas app in Power Apps, they complete their visit, that triggers a workflow process, which may then send an invoice out through Xero or something like that. As I say, mentioning Xero, these triggers can also come the other way as well. So when if you ran a process, say every day, to pick up all of your overview invoices out of Xero, that could then trigger a workflow process, which makes a decision on, well, is the invoice over or under a specific value? And again, because you can change the process, you can change that value as your business needs. And then trigger a process, even down to looking at the weather forecast at a particular site. So there are internet services there. You can give it a GPS coordinate, and it'll tell you whether it's going to rain tomorrow. Supermarkets have been using this for years, which is why when you walk into Tesco on a sunny day, probably 5 days before, they've had information in that there's a heat wave coming, which has then automatically triggered a process to ship barbecues and charcoal out to the stores, which is then front of house, ready for the sun to come out occasionally, and then you to go in and buy your barbecues. But if you're a business that needs someone to work outside, or a surveyor to go out to review a property, it may be that you want to reschedule that appointment. So if the forecast is rain tomorrow, you may choose to send an SMS message out to the client with a link, which allows them to reschedule that appointment, rather than you send an expensive resource out to a job that can't be completed. So these are our triggers, and that will then start a business process. And again, those business processes can do all manner of things, whether it's sending a notification to someone's phone, whether it's an email. You define your business rules within Power Automate. The great thing about and you can include decisions in those steps. So those decisions can then rely on the questions that are asked, or the data that you've already captured. If you need an approval process, it can send a message in email and Teams, and then you can approve it in either or application to then continue the workflow process. Or you can ask a question out to whoever is interacting with that workflow, to then make a decision and go forward. But as I say, all of these, because this is powered by Dataverse and the Power Platform, you're not reliant on just the information that you've captured within your business. It can integrate with third-party systems. As I say, 600 odd connectors that are already available today. Third-party systems, if you've got an older system, then you can create integrations with those, or we can help you if you can't do it yourself. So, which then delivers the result, as well as these processes that are triggered by a particular action. You can schedule a process using recurrence, and this allows you to then have that process run every day, every week, or so on. It can pick up data from all of the Dataverse sources and then send that out. You can use scheduled tasks to with Power BI as well, to actually create reports that are sent out to people that need to make decisions automatically. That's great for all these systems, but there's information out there where you just can't integrate with it. So I had a meeting recently with a client who needed to get some information off LinkedIn. And LinkedIn don't expose that information through an API. However, it is possible to get that information by browsing onto a company's website. And this is where robotic process automation is used. You basically record the steps like a macro, if you remember macros back in the day, record the steps that you want to complete, that you want your automated process to complete. So that can be go into a website, fill in some information, or paste a certain link, and then grab some information off that website to use then in your automated process. We've used this previously with an accounting firm to log into HMRC's website before they go out to a customer. Sorry, should have explained the background. Before going out to see a customer, then they need to get certain tax records. And this was typically the job of an admin assistant to collate that information before the account manager went out. By using robotic process automation, we were able to log into HMRC's website, enter the tax details, which they already held for the client, retrieve their previous year's tax records, download that information into a format that was required by the account manager. So it's available for them to see, up to date, no user interaction whatsoever, but ready for them to have all the information needed to have that meeting with the client. And you can use this, it's not just web-based, you can use this with Windows applications. So if you've got an older Windows application, you can use RPA to do that as well. Okay, so Power Automate allows you to improve efficiency, reduce time and cost, which were the key things that we were looking for. It provides visibility and transparency because you can look at the processes that have run and you can see why it's run down a certain decision path. It increases employee satisfaction because they don't have to do those mundane, boring tasks like prepare a load of reports before a meeting. And it means you can make decisions quicker. There's a whole raft of predefined templates that are already in Power Automate. Of course, because it's all web-based, you can access those automation from anywhere. You can even trigger them anywhere from your phone as well, which are great. So we've got a way we've got somewhere to store our data. We've got a way to interact with it. We've got a way to automate, but business is all about constant improvement, and this is where Power BI, or their business intelligence engine, comes in. Power BI allows you to create interactive dashboards that pull data out of those out of Dataverse, out of your external systems, into one dashboard. So you can have 4 or 5 different systems pulling data into your Power BI dashboard, which allow you to then start analyzing performance. If that data is stored in Dataverse, Dataverse already knows the connections. So when you drag on a customer record and you drag on a list of orders, as you click through the customers, then it will know to filter the orders that are against those customers automatically. If the data is coming from disparate systems that may be cloud hosted or something, then you can define those relationships within Power BI. Again, really great tool for detecting those bottlenecks within an organization. But you can also use the AI features within Power BI to start forecasting future activity. Look how we've done in the past and forecast, and you can ask it real questions to ask it how it can force it. Can't think of the word. But anyway, how you can see those, how it predicts, that's the word I was looking for, how it predicts that data may change based on what's happened previously. As I say, AI is a game changer, and AI is baked into Power BI. So whether that's asking natural language questions, or whether it's asking to do this, to do these predictions of how it can see changes or where it might recognize there's pain points. Why does this figure equal that? And it will come back with human responses rather than having to rely on someone who's, maybe more technical or works with the data. So that's great. So we've got Power BI. We can start using those as well as creating these interactive dashboards. You can also create standard reports that you can send out again via email or publish on the web. But Copilot takes that AI to the next stage. Obviously, Copilot, if you haven't heard of it, is Microsoft's AI engine. And we're going to do a session specifically on AI, on Copilot in the future. But this allows you to utilize data across the whole of your organization, whether that's in 365, whether it's in Power Platform. And, if you think of a typical example of that, then creating custom chatbots for either external users or employees to use. A great example, if your organization needs to have book a resource for a particular thing, if you've got Copilot integrated with your resource management system, then it can automatically find someone who's or a slot free or the next available slot without you having to go in, and maybe even customers can do that as well. It provides you can use it to do data analytics, as I've already mentioned, but also automate some of those administrative tasks, particularly good on creative tasks where you need to create a new Word document or PowerPoint presentation. Because it's read every single word in PowerPoint presentation, it can create those within the terminology and the language that you use as an organization. Really powerful Copilot. As I say, we can spend a whole hour going through Copilot just on itself, but it really is going to change the way that we work in the next coming years. So, in summary, Power Platform really is a key add-on to your Office 365 subscription. You can utilize the applications that within it, whether it's Power Apps to create internal applications, Power Pages to create external facing customer, supplier, partner portals, use Power Automate to automate your business process and legacy applications, use Power BI for that continuous improvement, monitoring your business performance and providing feedback to users, and Copilot to take your automation to the next level. So what's the next steps? Well, work with a Microsoft partner like us to explore use cases within your business. Think of concepts or ideas where you think you could automate your business process, and we can give you our knowledge and expertise. We've been using these platforms for the last 4 or 5 years. As a business internally, we've been using them pretty much for the last 10. So these concepts, so we can help you navigate that kind of minefield of, well, what's the best solution for this use case? As I say, we've got pre-built apps. There are more out on the web as well that you can use to be able to give you that leg up onto